Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. Just like you, I'm an independent retail business owner. I love the home decor and gift boutique I co-own with my sister, but I don't want it to consume me or my life. Join me each week as I share lessons learned, helpful tips, and valuable information for your retail business and life. Whether you're buying your products or making your products, whether you're a $25K business or a $2.5 million business, I'm on a mission to help indie retailers work less, profit more, and grow. Let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to episode 119 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. Where are you on your shopkeeper journey? I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. My intention for this episode is to share about a new, helpful tool for shopkeepers. It's a fun quiz, and I should be more clear. This is a Savvy Shopkeeper quiz created by yours truly. It's an 8-question quiz that will tell you which one of 5 shopkeeping stages you're currently in. And I'm so excited about this project. It has been a labor of love, so I thought it was worth dedicating a whole episode to it. Now, I know some of you are going to want to go straight to the quiz to take it right now. So I'm going to share the link now and, of course, at the end. If you want to go check it out, it's savvyshopkeeper.com/quiz. savvyshopkeeper.com/quiz. So first, I want to give you a little bit of background about this quiz. I always like to tell the stories behind some of the projects I work on. In July of 2020, I came up with the idea of these 5 shopkeeping stages. Yes, that was nearly 2 years ago. I actually looked at the Google Doc to find the original date. So at that time, when I drafted the outline, I was going to share this idea in a blog post or a podcast episode. But it was interesting to me because I kept pushing this outline or this document to the bottom of my podcast list. I just kept pushing it down and down and down, and I wasn't prioritizing it. And after 4 months, I had to sit back and ask myself, why? Why wasn't I moving forward with this episode? Because the 5 stages felt really good and helpful. And this was when I realized that this nugget of an idea for these 5 stages was so much bigger than a simple blog post or podcast episode. Talk about an aha moment. I realized this idea, and I'm doing air quotes, idea, is how I would be able to help shopkeepers even more. I also realized that taking this from a simple idea to something truly helpful for shopkeepers would take a fairly big effort, both in my brain and from my team. And that's when I realized this idea is actually a framework. Now, if you're wondering what's a framework, a business framework is a structured way of thinking about a business problem so that you can solve it. It's essentially the Savvy Shopkeeper roadmap to help you create a strong foundation so that you can work less, profit more, and grow, regardless of the stage that you're in. This framework is one of the reasons I took that Biz Bestie trip back in January. I think I talked about it on a previous podcast episode. And I took that Biz Bestie trip because I knew I needed space. I knew my brain needed space to breathe, to think, and to lay out the plan. I easily could have just published a podcast episode and shared the 5 stages of shopkeeping, but that alone would not have been helpful to you. I mean, maybe a little helpful to you, but I feel like you would have been left wondering, what does my stage mean? Or what do I do now? Or how do I get from one stage to the next? So I wanted to take this simple idea of the stages, I wanted to take it further. These were some of the questions I asked myself along the way. What are the 5 stages and how can I validate them? How can I help you identify which stage you're in? What Savvy Shopkeeper content, and I mean like the blog posts I write, the podcast episodes I publish, or some of the free resources I offer, what existing Savvy Shopkeeper content is helpful to you once you know the stage you're currently in. And if you're part of our group memberships, how can I help you even more? Or how can these stages and the information that I provide you after I share the stages, what is it that I can do for the group memberships, or for our group members, I should say, that would be even more helpful? Now, I'll spare you any more of the background details, but I do want you to know that there are so many hours of thinking, researching, interviewing, and validating that were involved with this project. So I'm here and thrilled to share that phase 1 of the project is what's launching today, and that's the Savvy Shopkeeper quiz. This 8-question quiz will help you identify which shopkeeping stage you're currently in. I think that's the most important part. Is obviously we transition from one phase of business or one stage of business to another. Sometimes it happens naturally. Sometimes it happens because we get the help that we need in order to grow. And you might be wondering, why is identifying your stage important? Especially if I recorded and shared a podcast episode titled Retail Success is Subjective. Well, because there is value in understanding where you are and what you can focus on during a particular stage as an independent retailer, especially if you want to progress to the next stage. When you take the quiz and you get your result, we point you to 4 to 6 podcast episodes that are valuable to a shopkeeper in that particular stage. Plus, you'll get access to a couple of freebies, and you might already have 1 or 2 of them, or you might not have seen them before. They might be brand new to you. And these are PDF documents. I think they're all PDF documents that are just going to be easy to click and download. You don't have to do anything else. So the quiz is phase 1, and that's what I'm sharing today. Phase 2 of this framework project is coming later and will be for paid group members. They'll receive more in-depth roadmaps for each stage. If you're a group member now, you know there are currently 24 modules in the Shopkeepers Lab. There's a lot of content in the lab, a ton of lessons. And taking it all in really takes time, although some of you, shout out to Darlene, you know who you are. There are some of you who take it all in, and it's fantastic. But I know it can be helpful if I actually give you a more detailed roadmap so that once you go into the lab, you're not overwhelmed. These roadmaps will help you figure out which lessons to focus on during each stage of your journey. And yeah, that means you can access the roadmaps for all of the stages if you want to and go one stage at a time. Of course, you can still take in all of the lessons if you want. However, if you prefer to focus on content that's specific to the place that you're in your business now, this is the tool that will really help you do that. One thing I often hear from shopkeepers is that running a retail business can be lonely. It can feel lonely. That's why our group memberships are so appreciated. Well, these roadmaps will help you even more. So let me go back to the quiz just to talk about how it's set up. It's simple. You answer the 8 questions, and my best tip for you is don't overthink your responses. I've already had some people test the quiz, and it was funny the feedback that they gave me where they were overthinking maybe 1 or 2 of the questions. Don't do that. Just think about where you are in terms of your business right now and answer the question as naturally as possible. This will ensure the most accurate result. Don't overthink it. Don't try to think you're going to beat the quiz. You don't have to beat the quiz. You don't have to think of, what the answer might be if you want to place yourself in a stage that's ahead of where you are now. Really don't do that. I genuinely want you to find out which stage you're in now. And then so if it helps, once you get your result, it'll send you to a page. And all the way at the bottom of the page, you'll have a link where you can read about all 5 stages. So it's not like I'm going to leave you blind, wondering what are the other stages. You'll get that information. And if you really want, you can take the quiz over again. That will also be an option once you get your result. Again, what will be the most helpful is if you answer the questions naturally for where you are in your business now. And don't worry if you close the browser on your result page. you'll get an email with a link to the page so you can reference it later too. So let's say, for example, because on the page you get your result on, you'll have some podcast episodes to listen to, some other information, and you might want to reference that later. So we're going to make sure that you get an email that gives you your result, that gives you a link to access that information again. So don't feel like you're not going to be able to find it. You can save the email and you can reference it again. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I was hoping this would be a quick podcast episode for you this week. This framework acknowledges that shopkeepers wear hundreds of hats, while at the same time, it's going to teach you what to focus on and what to do next in order to work less, profit more, and grow along your journey. All this to say, I'm so glad I listened to my intuition when I kept pushing this idea to the bottom of my list, even if it did take almost 2 years. This is a classic example, at least for me, that entrepreneurship is a marathon and not a sprint. I know for some of you, it has been a sprint. In both of my businesses, they've been sometimes slow burning marathons, and that's okay. Taking the time to get to know all of you, to get to know about your businesses, and my own retail business for that matter, is what helped me create this helpful tool and everything that will follow this quiz. Before I wrap this up, I have to give a special shout out to some people who helped make this happen. First and foremost, Jamie of Jamie Lee Creative. Jamie is my talented copywriter, and I'm going to call her my quiz whiz. This could not have happened without her. And I want to make sure that I mention these 6 shopkeepers who generously donated their time. We'll link all of their websites in the show notes. These shopkeepers were all interviewed by Jamie specifically for this project so that we would, get it right. Really, it was important to me to get this as accurate as possible, to create information that's as helpful as possible. And Jamie interviewed Jen of Rustic Rehabs, Kate of Cerulean Gift, Simbra of Moonstruck Gardens, Amanda of La Petite Maison Antiques, and I wish I said that in French, but I didn't, Lisa of Bride and Baker Designs, and Leslie of Larkin Vines. So thank you all. Oh, one more person, Margaret of Off Main Gifts. Ladies, I appreciate your time and effort more than you'll ever know. Jamie genuinely enjoyed speaking with each of you, and of course, that doesn't surprise me one bit. If you want to see the show notes to this episode or find links to anything I mentioned, including all of these shopkeepers who were so helpful to me, you can visit my blog at savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 119. And if you're ready to take the quiz, and I really think everyone who listens to this podcast, everyone who's in our group memberships, anyone who reads this blog on the website, anyone who's in retail right now, I genuinely think each of you should take this quiz because it's just going to give you more helpful and focused content. You're going to visit savvyshopkeeper.com/quiz. Until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.